Hiya. Welcome to Oshinyemi's channel. I'm going to talk about the SUS law because I feel that I need to talk about it because this is one of the Black history over here in England. They had this law where, like, everywhere you go, you needed a paper to show where you are going or where you're coming from. There was lots of stops and searches around the times when this was on. So I thought I would talk about it because I feel that I have to talk about it. I don't know. I just feel like, because it happened to so many people around certain times in England, there are many examples of this being shown. You see it in Small Axe, the series. That's why there was an uprising at one point in over here in England, a massive uprising. I feel that a lot of people was fed up with what was going on in England, particularly because they came over like the Windrush era. So the SUS law was put in place to treat people bad. The police always had the upper hand and everything else. So I'm going to explain this SUS law. Now, the SUS law was in England and Wales. Let's put it so you can see it properly, so you can see as I read this. Now, it was in England and Wales. The SUS law is from suspected persons. It was a stop and search law that permitted the police officer to stop and search the potential arrest people on suspicion of being in breach of Section 4. According to the British Journal of Criminology, stop and search had a marginal impact on crime in the UK. The legalization of the SUS law, the power to act on suspicion, was found as part of Section 4, which provided every suspect person or reported thief, frequently any river, canal, stream, dock, basin, or queue, wharf, warehouse, or near adjoining thereto, or any street, highway, avenue leading to any place, public resort, avenue. Boy, there's a lot of places. See the Section 4. Now, this happened during the 1970s and the 1980s. There was a lot of racial profiling going on. It was mostly aimed at Black and ethnic minorities. There was a race riot in the 1980s. See, and I think the biggest one was the Brixton one. So this SUS law went on from the 1970s to the 1980s. Let me see if I can find. There's also somebody I want to play too, because he was round about the SUS law. Round about the time of the SUS law. Let me stop it so we can get him fully.
We were just generally young people, like, when I was a youth, we were just like any other, youth, young people. But we had our rude boys, but our rude boys were a tiny minority. Every generation has its own, juvenile delinquents. But the British police tried to criminalize an entire section of the youth of my generation, the Metropolitan Police Force in particular. And the law under which they tried to criminalize us was known in our communities as the SUS law. sus being short for suspicion. The sus law was in fact a piece of 19th century legislation called the Vagrancy Act, which was used to control the movements of the unemployed during the time of Queen Victoria. It had been dormant on the statute books for many years until the youth of my generation emerged upon the scene where it was suddenly rediscovered and used against us. And you were always arrested and convicted for attempting to steal from persons unknown. No one was ever produced in court to give evidence against you. It was your word against the police officers. And invariably the magistrate would take the word of the police officer. So during the 1970s, we had a campaign in England to get rid of this law. It was a successful campaign, by the way. They got rid of it in 81, and then a few years later, they brought in something similar. I contributed this poem in the form of a letter to the campaign. The letter is written to a mother somewhere in the Caribbean. It's called Sonny's Letter. We had a mother somewhere in the Caribbean. It's called Sonny's Letter.
So I don't know whether you heard all that. I might just play it just in case they take it off the beginning, because at the beginning you hear what he said. They bring you in on all sorts of Trump charges and all that, but they call it now, the sus law is by a different name. So Linton Kwesi Johnson, who is a poet, was around about them times, and he, in his own words, explains it, I think, exquisitely, because he let it be known that how he was brought in on all sorts of charges, you know what I mean? Just to know that how you weren't able to talk freely, to go from one end of wherever you're going to another end, you always get stopped by the police. Day in, day out, you get stopped by the police. Or they will take you into the police station for no reason. Then they make the charges up as they go along. But anyway, I'm going to make him say it again.
That's all right. That's okay. That's okay. We had we were just generally young people, like, you know, when I was a youth, we were just like any other, you know, youth, young people. But we had our rude boys, but our rude boys were a tiny minority. Every generation has its own, you know, juvenile delinquents. But the British police tried to criminalize an entire section of the youth of my generation, the Metropolitan Police Force in particular. And the law under which they tried to criminalize us was known in our communities as the sus law, sus being short for suspicion. The sus law was in fact a piece of 19th century legislation called the Vagrancy Act, which was used to control the movements of the unemployed during the time of Queen Victoria. It had been dormant on the statute books for many years until the youth of my generation emerged upon the scene where it was suddenly rediscovered and used against us. And you were always arrested and convicted for attempting to steal from persons unknown. No one was ever produced in court to give evidence against you. It was your word against the police officers. And invariably the magistrate would take the word of the police officer. So during the 1970s, we had a campaign in England to get rid of this law. It was a successful campaign, by the way. They got rid of it in 81. And then a few years later, they brought in something similar. I contributed this poem in the form of a letter to the campaign. The letter is written to a mother somewhere in the Caribbean. It's called Sonny's Letter.
Now, during all this sus law and everything else going on, there was an uprising in Brixton because of all this, people getting taken and being beaten up, all sorts of things. The Musgrove, I would say, is a good example of that. The Musgrove 7, or I can't remember, I think it was 7 of them anyway. But yeah, that was a good example, because they were taken in for Trump charges once again. The sus law team, they come in, they, all sorts of, they would just take them in, So I'm going to show you the scream of the uprising as well, because that was all part of the setup, the Brixton uprising. See, employment economics was always used as well. See, this is the sus law. The fourth law in response to the police abuse of power and stop and search law of other groups, including Brixton Black Women's Group, Black Liberation Front, led by such people as Mavis Best, heavily campaigned against the use of the sus law under campaign banner Scrap Sus Law. They created leaflets and flyers raising awareness about its discriminatory usage and the extent to which the justice system failed to provide those who were arrested under the sus law with fair trial. Those responses to the uprising show the resilience of the Black community, both in London and across the country, in the grassroots response to the structural racism they faced. This is the sus law. The sus law that was going on around about them times. Let's see, there's more. See, this is the uprising in Brixton. So after all what they've been through, they started uprising against the Metropolitan Police because it was getting ridiculous. See, these are all the battle for Brixton and all that, you see? So the sus law is just, I'm trying to find another one which explains more of the sus law itself. Let me see. Let me go back to this. Because even this, the stop and search. Stop and search and stuff. So these are the sections it was under. Section 2. It's like they had to think of reasons to stop them. Stop them. Stop people with a sus law, racial profiling, all sorts of things going on. See, even the places are highlighted. So I'm going to put this on the screen so you can see. As you can see, Brixton, Handsworth, Tuxton, whatever, Southall, Moss Side. I can't even say half the name. There are so many. So they was racially profiling people, which is still going on today. And this is underneath the detention, how long they keep them now. Let me see if I could find something else, because the police always act unreasonable for why they stop them. They stopped them for no reason. You know, so in the case of race riots, the alleged abusive use of the SUS law was believed to be contribute factor to those events. The SUS law was repealed on the 27th of August 1981 on the advice of the 1979 Royal Commission on Criminal Procedure, when the Criminal Attempts Act 1981 received royal assent. So these are the pictures from the uprising of Brixton, because this is where all of this started. Because you have to see these things, because like people think it's only America that have problems and have stuff with the police. This is not so. Over here, in those times, these was what used to happen over here. And they had riots over here because the youths was not standing for rubbish. But you get stopped for no reason. Get stopped for no reason. You know, look at the Rasta man. Right, probably minding his own business. He gets stopped for no reason. So they also had the Black People's Day of Action and all sorts, because loads of things was going on for other times. And look at who's there, Baldwin. All them times, Baldwin and that they used to be talking about what they were going through. Oh yeah, Alex Whitley. Alex Whitley also went through a whole heap of stops, being in and out of prison. See, the stop and searches of the SUS law. So as much as people thinking that how there's only just now these things are happening, these things have been happening for a long time. Ain't nothing new in America. People going like it's new. It's not nothing new. Some of the racial profiling still happen over here. It still happen in America too. But the reason why I brought up the SUS law, I don't even know what made me think of this subject, you know, because it's strange, because there is repeats in behavior against people of minority. So this is like a circle. It goes round in circles. Nothing is not new under the sun. I keep telling people nothing ain't new under the sun. Just because like it's not happening, it doesn't mean it's not happening in front of your face. It don't mean to say that it's gone. So see all this, right? People thinking, oh, marching's going to stop this and marching's going to do that. No, it ain't going to stop it, because this has been happening for years. And if people do their research and check out certain things, right, you'll find out that how it's actually the same thing what's going on. It just goes in a circle. The SUS law, there's probably a SUS law in America, I'm thinking, the racial profiling thing too. But this was happening in the time of the 1980s and the 1970s. Nothing has changed. And I don't even, like I said, I don't even know why. I just feel like I need to talk about this, whether it's important to you or not, because you need to look at the history of Britain against America. It's always the same thing. People dying for no reason underneath the police. People subjugated to brutality underneath the police. Now, Linton Kwesi Johnson explained it already. He said Right, I can't remember word for word because like my head no good. But he explains it in his own way, and he said that how because it's due to racial profiling, they kept picking up the racial profiling. Oh, black people, they're bad, they do bad things, they're thief and robber. You know, they weren't allowed to walk free. You see this in the movie Babylon when Blue was walking through, I can't remember, some part of London. And as he's walking, the police target him and he try to run. And when they run, when they get him now, they say what they have to say and then they beat him up. So even if you are playing right, doing the right things, as you say, or being right so that you don't get picked up, right? They just target the people. They're targeting people, man, woman, child. You see it on Small Axe in the other episodes, not so much in the first one, but in the other episodes, you see it, how they target the people. That even the man, he decided to turn policeman. And when he turned policeman, because he was a policeman, right? The police people had to, I think they pay him for that or something. I can't remember exactly what happened in the program and the guy is a real life policeman. He was a real life policeman, real life police commissioner. And also saying that there's another program that highlights the brutality that was on BBC One as well, because BBC One, they always put on these things when people are not looking. They put it on late at night, explaining about certain brutality that happens to the Black community. Now, people can go around in circles and scream Black Power. Black Power was more heightened in this time and more for the cause, maybe not as more now. The Black Power now in Britain is not as fully like it was, maybe because like the struggles is different, maybe. But the fact that this sus law was going on for a long time and they take so long to remove it, but it's still happening now because they're still stopping Black men. They see them with a nice car, they stop them. Like I said, you don't know what goes on inside of the police station. Even if it have mixture of officers of Black origin, they don't, it's not looked upon because a white officer always come to you. So I'm going to put the sus law, the details, because there's many sections to it. I don't even think I can even read the whole of it because there's a lot. And I'm sure people's family went through this sus law. I already spoke about Joy Gardner and what she went through for the immigration. There's Cherry Gross. I can't remember. There's quite a few people that died around about this time in Britain. Now, I know the Americans think that nothing don't happen over here. Things happen over here same way too. Yeah, just because you're not hearing about it over there, it doesn't mean it's not happening. It's just that it's not as highlighted. Like, it has to be a death for it to be highlighted. That's why. So I don't like to go on and on and on and on and on. And, I don't like to waffle. I just like to make my point and come off. The sus law was a serious thing and it's still happening today. Even now in this lockdown, well, the so-called lockdown that they said they lifted, is happening. They were stopping people outside gathering and going to certain people and arresting them. Now you have to ask yourself, why is that? They always say the revolution will not be televised. That is a true thing. That's probably why all this YouTuber censor everybody too. So I thought I'd talk about the sus law because I know probably my parents went through it, your parents went through it. They don't talk about it. Oh yes, a good example. Dr. Les Henry spoke about it one time. He said he was on a bus and he got off a bus and they asked him for his pass. He had to take out his pass and show them that he was going to some part of London, I think some fancy part of London. Dr. Les Henry said this on one radio program one time. Bonga Tete said the same thing. Chief Kamabai said the same thing. So, like I said, even though like people are not talking about it, I mean, some of these teenagers need to hear this. This is not a new thing you're going through. This has happened before. Maybe it's going to continue happening. Who knows? Until it stops, I don't know. So this is the brutality that people had to deal with on a day-to-day basis. You can't move around, you can't do this. It's similar to the lockdown, isn't it? Very similar. Isn't it very similar? Or maybe I'm mad or crazy, I don't know. So before I talk my head off, I'm going to stop right there because I can talk for dust right now, and I haven't learned the art of doing paneling and all this thing yet, you know what I mean? So let me come off, and you can leave your comments and you can say what you think or whether I'm wrong on it or what, because this is very serious. Nothing's changed. Same game, different players. Interesting that, isn't it? I don't know. It's like, you know, it's strange. My mind just passed on this Suslaw thing. It's so interesting how my mind just rump on this thing. There's always a reason why you talk about certain things, because sometimes I want to talk about certain things and my words never come over right. But when you talk about certain things of these people who live through these experiences, they die and all this. Anyways, I'm not even gonna go on, you know. I think I done, you know, because I think I said my point. I made my point. I can't go through the whole Wikipedia, because sometimes it's not good to go through Wikipedia. Wikipedia tells you what they want to tell you, but it's for you to work out the nonsense when you're reading it, you know, to work out the information. And if you have a book to back it up, even better. So with that said, I'm gonna come off. I ain't gonna even talk. So please like and subscribe. Like I said, I don't know who listen to the videos, whether they listen or they don't listen. I don't know. Whoever it reaching it. You know what I mean? I'm not forced nobody. So with that said, I'm gonna come off. Because you can hear the passion rising right now, and I don't want to go on and on and on and on, you know. So yes, so this is my little information. If you don't know about the Suslaw, you need to find out. If you know people from them times there, you need to ask them questions about the Suslaw. Ask them questions, the ones who experienced this. Anyways, let me come off, yeah? So with that said, have a good night, because it's night time now. Yeah, have a good night, have a good evening, good morning. Yeah, just leave a comment, tell me what you think, innit? You know, so yeah, so take care, have a good night. Okay, bye.